DEIS action planning, step 3, target setting. So this is step 3 of our 6-step process, where we analyse and make judgments. Key questions for schools to consider. What do we want to improve? Why do we want to improve this? How can this be achieved? Which students need to be targeted or prioritised? Step 3, what is a SMART target? So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timed. So specific. Targets should aim to meet the needs of a clearly specified group. Measurable. Targets should include data to facilitate measurement of the target. Achievable. Targets should be achievable, informed by capturing the abilities of the targeted group. Realistic. Targets should be appropriate for the targeted group and reflect the contexts of the school. Timed. Targets should clearly articulate when the target is expected to be achieved. Step 3, effective target setting. Be realistic. Ensure targets are SMART. Targets should be evidence-based. Avoid confusing actions with targets. Targets should relate to learner outcomes. Actions relate to learning experiences and teachers' practice. Formula and language of targets. So, for example, the verb could be to increase. It could be to decrease. The verb could be to reduce. It could be to expand. It could be to complete. So there should be a verb at the beginning, followed by the thing affected, followed by from, so the baseline, followed by the level intended, followed by the date. So here's an example. To increase the percentage of pupils taking higher level from 60% to 65% by the end of year 1, 70% by the end of year 2, and 75% by the end of year 3. So in this example, the verb is to increase. So we start with the verb. The thing affected is the percentage of pupils taking higher level. From, so the baseline is 60%, so from 60%. The level intended is to 65%. And by, so the date, is by the end of year 1. So again, the example is to increase the percentage of pupils taking higher level from 60% to 65% by the end of year 1, 70% by the end of year 2, and 75% by the end of year 3. So we start with the verb, then the thing affected, then from, so the baseline, then the level intended, and then by, the date. Targets are student-focused, evidence-based, have baseline data, and clearly indicate the desired outcome. Walking through a target using the SSE 6-step process. The next series of slides will walk us through a target in relation to a chosen theme, attendance. Following each step of the SSE process, we will clearly see how a sample SMART target can be achieved. So a reminder that SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timed. So walking through a target, our example is attendance. Step 1, identify focus. To decrease the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences. So to decrease is the verb, and the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences is the thing affected. Step 2 is to gather evidence. So we're going to add on to the target we started off in the previous slide. So we had to decrease the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences, and we're going to add on now from 40%. So to decrease is the verb. The percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences is the thing affected, and from 40% is the baseline. So reminder that targets have to be SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. Step 3, analyze and make judgments. So the target we have created from the previous 2 slides is to decrease the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences from 40%. So again, the verb was to decrease. The thing affected was the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences, and the baseline was from 40%. So we're going to add to that now, and we're going to add on to 35% by the end of year 1, 30% by the end of year 2, and 25% by the end of year 3. So our full target now is to decrease the percentage of fifth-year students with partial absences from 40% to 35% by the end of year 1, 30% by the end of year 2, and 25% by the end of year 3. How could focus group data be used to ascertain why the students have partial absences and how these partial absences could be alleviated through effective teaching and learning? So again, a reminder that our targets need to be SMART, they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timed.